JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the last trading day of this month, guys. So, yep, and the last trading day of summer. As sad as it sounds, but well, I mean, let's see what autumn will have prepared for us and installed for us starting from tomorrow. But for today, let's see how this last trading day of summer will go through. So yeah, guys, today is the 31st of August, as you understood already. So yep, before we jump into the charts, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So you have to check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, let's jump into the chart. So the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225. So good performance here on Nikkei. Well, today. And it did follow the yesterday's uprising in the U.S. equities. I mean, some of them, yep, we saw a nice good push here on the Japanese stocks. Here we pushed through this downside resistance line, the one that I kept talking about, and yep, we managed to stay above it, and also above this 27,900 area. Now, as I'll stick to my game plan as said previously, if the price continues to trade somewhere above this area here, above this 27,900 zone, excuse me, and above this downside line, then yes, I will continue aiming higher, initially targeting the 28,280 territory right here marked near the current highest point of August, actually already the highest point of August, yeah, if that gets cleared, then certainly my next target is this other downside resistance line taken from the high of the 16th of February, and then we'll take it from there. If suddenly the index falls back below this downside line, yes, we will consider maybe a bit of a decline here, but I would actually prefer to see at least a push below the 200-day EMA in order to, yep, maybe aim for that psychological 27,000 mark. Shanghai Composite. So Shanghai Composite did a good job here as well, did push higher, not as strongly as Nikkei. Nevertheless, it remained above this downside resistance line, which, as you can see, kind of got violated recently, but somehow today, I mean, it got respected again. So we pushed higher here, but we failed to move towards that, or should I say, we failed to reach the 3,544 level, which is marked by the highest point of August. Now, again, we still have a few minutes left of trading here. I mean, we have around 55 minutes left of trading. Again, let's see if we can create a new high for August. However, I somehow doubt that, but again, anything can happen here. So if you want to aim for the upside, guys, for further upside, then, well, probably wait for that push above this hurdle, above this 3,544 zone, and then yes, higher levels could be met. In terms of the downside, now this is where I need to get rid of this upside line here. No, not needed. Yes, a slight tidy up here is required, but for the downside, what I would like to see here is that maybe a drop below this low, the 27th of August here, last Friday's low, near the 3,493 territory, approximately around here. At the same time, if we drop below this hurdle, then well, we could see maybe the index sliding a little bit lower here towards these previous levels that were tested recently, and then yeah, we would initially of course aim for the 200-day EMA. So that would be my kind of first target in case, like I said, if we drop below this area here. But the one thing to keep in mind, of course, although it's a bit of a tentative line, but nevertheless an upside one, and yep, this is where maybe a temporary holdup might occur. So yep, keep your eyes on that one as well. This is for the downside, guys. I mean, let's see, like I said, but at the moment I'm leaning a little more towards the upside, but a confirmation break is needed. I can see in chat room here, Erica and Evo. Yep, good morning to you too. I hope you're having a wonderful start of the last trading day of this summer. So yep. Now coming back to the German index DAX, and yep, this is what I talked about yesterday. I said that keep your eyes on this little pattern here, and because basically it seems like we are getting in a bit of a squeeze here, but let me just quickly check the cash index. I think we've broken the upper side of this triangle. Yes, that's correct. So we managed to clear this this upper side, and well, as I've mentioned to you yesterday, that whenever we enter kind of if let's say the prevailing trend before entering this pattern was, let's say, to the upside, there is a greater chance that the breakout could happen to the upside as well. Certainly there are occasions where it doesn't happen, but again, that's the reason why we always wait for the breakout first before doing anything on the, let's say. And in this situation, we can see that for example, the cash index is trading slightly above this right now. Now, NASDAQ 100, very good performance yesterday. It pushed strongly to the upside and continued to push after hours. The cash index continued to push after hours. For example, right now the cash index is sitting at around 15,660 territory. So basically, it will see a nice little gap here to the upside probably today. So, but of course, don't get me wrong. I mean, I do believe that some of you are already hoping maybe for a bit of a retracement here. However, guys, as I mentioned before and mentioned last week and the week before that, and when we saw this drop here on the 18th, I said to you that in a way, not everything is doesn't look very clear for to the downside here, because again, the upside scenario was still valid. We were still trading above some of these upside lines here. I mean, I'm not going to draw them right. Well, actually, let's put this one. Let's say put one of these here. So this long-term upside support line here, taken from the low, the 23rd of March of last year, and look how far we have traveled, guys, from basically from around 7,000 mark all the way to this 15,000. So we basically we doubled that, doubled the kind of the amount here at least. So I mean, this has been quite a spectacular run, I would say, and it still is a quite a spectacular run. I mean, at the moment, the sky's the limit for this one. It's very difficult to find that resistance area. Maybe somebody already is looking already at that 16,000 mark. However, again, let's go slowly, step by step on this one. At the moment, yes, we are seeing the cash index trading at around 15,665 right now. But of course, maybe a bit of a corrective move would be nice. However, we'll go from what we have here, and at the moment, let's say, even if we draw this little short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 19th of August, Then yes, if we break this upside line, then yep, this is where we could consider maybe a bit of a corrective move lower. However, at the moment, guys, you can see that well, we are not nowhere near that. So if we do see a correction lower, then it might be just towards that upside support line, and then we'll have to just take it from there. Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now this one was a laggard yesterday. It didn't really perform well. The financial, the airline stocks didn't really do good. So yep, the NASDAQ closed slightly in the red here. If we take a look at the cash index, it did push higher as well after hours, and we're now coming kind of again trying to come closer to this 35,610 territory, which is actually, sorry, let me just put this one here, 35,631 territory, which is the current all-time high, and yep, the cash index is currently trading at around 35,495. So basically we're nicely above yesterday's close, but still not hitting the current all-time high. So let's see how today's day is going to play out. For now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside. However, if by any chance the index falls somewhere below this little territory right here, below this 35,205 zone, then yes, we could maybe consider maybe a bit of a corrective move lower, especially also if this upside line gets broken. But actually, let me just, this is where you need to kind of adjust, I think. Yep, there we go. So this is the upside line that I'm going to keep an eye on for now. The short-term one taken from the low of the 19th of July. So even if we drop below this 35,205 level, this would be the first foot in the door for the sellers, because at the same time it would be placed below the 21-day EMA, but probably more of them could join in if this little upside line gets broken. DXY, yep, so everything is kind of working according to the plan. So yesterday, if you remember, I told you that I'm going to continue targeting the downside, but only up until here, near this 92.47 territory, which in a way could provide a decent support, which it is doing right now. So let's see if this little idea works out later on, because what I was thinking maybe to see a little here, a rebound here from this area. However, I will consider that idea if this level continues to provide support. If it does, then yes, we might see a little rebound here back to this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 20th of August, and then yes, we'll take it. We'll just have to take it from there, because if this downside line gets broken, then yes, we might consider some higher levels, especially if the index pushes through this 92.80 territory right here. At the same time, it would be placed back above the 21-day EMA. But at the moment, guys, like I said, it's let's see how this is going to play out. For now, I'm keeping a close eye on this 92.47 level. If it continues to provide support, that's great. Like I said, we could consider maybe a bit of a retracement here back to the upside. Gold. So gold is currently enjoying the weaker dollar, of course, and yep, so far so good according to the idea which I mentioned yesterday. So basically, for now, I would say if this given that we've already broken this downside line, I'll remove this, and I would say that if this little short-term tentative upside line continues to remain intact, then yes, we will continue aiming higher. And initially, my first target is the highest point of July near the 1834 level. If that gets cleared, certainly higher levels could be met. But if not, then we'll just have to reevaluate everything. For the downside, well, I mean, here probably I would like to see maybe a drop. Of course, first of all, a break of this upside line. Then maybe a drop below all of these EMAs could do the trick for a few more sellers. Now, WTI oil so continues to push higher, and look at this. Yesterday, I've talked about this idea. It worked out nicely, where I said that we might see a bit of a retracement here back down towards maybe this 21-day EMA or this 67.78 level, which did provide good support, and yep, we saw a nice little rebound here and a push back up. So for now, everything's working according to the plan, and it seems that we are on track to maybe test this this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 6th of July. For the downside, as I mentioned before, I will take a very conservative approach here and wait for a drop below the 65.11 zone right here. Now, Ethereum, guys. So let me just refresh this chart and let's start again. Now, one thing for sure, of course, we had a fantastic move higher here after reversing north here from around mid-July. We pushed higher. We ended up finding resistance near around the 3,381 territory. So at the moment, you can see that the crypto is kind of is getting into a bit of a squeeze here, I would say. So, and in a way, depending on how we're going to draw this one, it's either an ascending triangle or more of a just a symmetrical, well, not a very symmetrical actually triangle, but nevertheless a triangle. So either way, guys, it's basically a triangle. It seems like it seems more like an ascending triangle here, which of course, according to all the TA rules, tends to break to the upside. However, again, although the rule states that, we still need to see a confirmation break through the upper side of it, and in this case, probably the area around the 3,381 could do that trick, and that's the current highest point of August. So let's see if we can clear that one. If we can, then yes, this will confirm a forthcoming higher high and potentially could open the door towards the next targets here, maybe around that psychological 4,000 level or the 4,200 level marked by the high of the 16th of May, and then we'll just have to take it from there, guys. For the downside, of course, a break of this upside line is needed, and then yes, we could maybe consider a bit of a decline here. However, one thing for sure is to keep an eye on this level, the 2,952, because again, let's say if we do break this upside line and it drifts a little bit lower, but finds support near this area, near this 2,952 level, and if it gets a hold up, then maybe we could see something off a range here. So, but again, that's maybe me getting a bit ahead of myself. So let's wait and see on this one. Jumping into AUDJPY, nice move here higher, broke the downside line, stayed above it, pushed through this 80.16 level. So anyway, everything's pointing nicely to the upside. Initially, what I'm going to be aiming here for is this 200-day EMA. Slightly above that, I'm going to have this level here. Actually, let me just adjust this very quickly. I think this one would be suited better. So I would say that if we overcome the 200-day EMA, the next area to watch out is around the 81.60 level. So approximately around here, or maybe this 100-day EMA as well. But just like I said, for now, let's go slowly on this one. Initially, let's target this 200-day EMA. So far, so good here. Can it continue running higher? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. In terms of the downside, well, a break back below this downside line, and the push maybe through this 79.42 level could attract a few more sellers here, and potentially leading the pair towards the lowest point of August here near the 77.90 level. But for now, of course, everything's shaping up here for the upside. So like I said, my next target is the 200-day EMA. Now, a different story here on USDJPY, and here we have a bit of a weakness of the dollar, of course, and that's what's keeping this pair for now, well, let's use the word here stable, because it's just stuck here in this little squeeze in this little triangle. So yep, the same analysis remains as I mentioned yesterday, that a break of one of these sides is needed in order to consider the next short-term directional move. So for now, the same, like I said, the same idea remains valid. USDCHF. Now this one's quite interesting, just because, first of all, I mean, let's get rid of this downside line, no longer needed. But what's interesting here is that it seems like it's kind of starting to range here a little bit, and you can see we are still getting a hold up here near this hurdle, and probably this is where the slight adjustment needs to come in, and that's the level that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. And look at this, 0.91 exactly, and this is the area which is currently providing good support. And I would say this way that as long as it does the job, and as long as it provides that support, then yes, we could see the pair kind of maybe trading around here. Also trading maybe above all of its EMAs as well. And also one thing to keep in mind, we do have this little short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 9th of June. And another thing, of course, for you to keep in mind, and this is where we're getting to a similarity with USDJPY, we also have a downside line here. So in other words, we're also getting in a bit of a squeeze. It's a little bit of a wider one than the USDJPY, but nevertheless, it's an interesting one as well. So in other words, if you're looking for something a little bit maybe more reassuring, so even if we drop below the 0.91 territory right here, still at this point in time, I would probably prefer to wait for a move below this upside line as well. For the downside, I would prefer, yes, I would like to see a break of this downside line, but also maybe a push somewhere above this 0.9233 level as well. GBPUSD, good move higher here, broke the downside line. This is what I talked about yesterday, and yeah, so far so good. I would say it's still staying above that downside line. It's above this 1.3791 territory. So in a way, I would say at the moment everything's leaning a little bit towards the upside. And initially I'll aim for this 100-day EMA, which is approximately around that 1.3840 level, and then yep, if it overcomes that, the next target is the 1.3895 right here, marked by the high of the 9th of August. In a way, like I said, for now, everything seems to be looking quite positive, but again, we still have a full day to go through, so anything can happen, and if somehow DXY, for example, reverses suddenly back to the upside, then we could see maybe the pair actually drifting back down and maybe staying below this downside line, and this way kind of confirming a false breakout. But again, these scenarios do happen, but at the moment, guys, at this point in time, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside, but like I said, let's see how this is going to play out. I can see in chat room here, Rod, good morning to you too. Yep, I hope you're having a wonderful start of Tuesday as well. So yep, coming back to the charts, GBPNZD, this one here, you can see that the pair is finally has finally broken this upside line, the one that I talked about. And if you remember last week when I covered this one, I said that we might see maybe a bit of a retracement here, and still my main target is going to be this upside support line taken from the low of the 7th of January, which we managed to perfectly hit. So that's a good result. But now we are breaking it, or I should say not now, but we have already broken it, and we've drifted lower, and we managed to drift below this 1.9603 territory. Now, of course, here looking at this picture, everything's leaning towards the downside. But one thing for sure is keep your eyes on this little hurdle right here, the low of the lowest point of July, where you can see that currently a holdup is occurring. So what I will say that, and looking at this picture at the moment, that if somehow this lowest point of July does its job and does provide support, then yes, we might see that little curved up move back up here, and if this downside line provides resistance again, then well, another slide could be possible, so keep that in mind. And finally, EURUSD. So yep, coming closer to this downside line. I talked about this yesterday, so so far so good, I would say. So yep, in a way we could see a further move north here. But yep, let's see how all this is going to play out. For now, in the very near term, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the upside here. But like I said, if this downside line, this tentative downside resistance line provides a good hold up, then maybe this is where the bears could step in again. However, if this gets broken and we see a push somewhere through this 1.1857 territory, now that's where it could become very interesting for a few more buyers. So guys, that's it for this session. I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys, your views, your likes, your comments. I really do, so really do that. So thank you very much for that, of course. And yeah, if you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful trading day. Remember, that's the last trading day of this month, so be very careful. It could be quite interesting, but again, as always, guys, have your stop losses in place and everything will be fine. So thank you very much, and bye-bye.